Hello, everybody. My name's Kath Rosen, and I've been leading the Orchard Project as the CEO for over 10 years. I grew up in London, and I have a very green-fingered mum who'd managed to coax an apricot tree to grow in our small garden, and I could lean out of my bedroom window and pick those sweet, juicy fruits. And it just really inspired my love of food growing, especially in urban environments. And that's really the raison d'etre of the Orchard Project, which is to bring the magic of orchards back to urban communities. We're a national charity, just a decade old, and our vision is that in cities across the UK, everyone is within easy reach of a thriving community orchard. Orchards have huge benefits in cities. They produce sustainable food, they increase biodiversity, help improve green spaces, improve community cohesion, and they give people a very tangible way of tackling climate change at a local level. And we think of orchards as tree planting plus. So if you're going to plant a tree, why not make it an edible one? There's a huge demand for our work, and so we focus our work in the most deprived parts of cities. But community orchards also have huge benefits for people's well-being. So probably unsurprisingly, nearly 100% of our beneficiaries said that they felt more positive about where they lived after having a community orchard planted. But 86% said it also improved their mental health. And just to give you a sense of scale, over the last decade, we've planted or supported over 500 community orchards in the UK and directly engaged over 50,000 people in fruit growing. And we do this through planting and restoring orchards, developing orchard skills training, including accredited courses, creating networks of orchardists within cities to help make our groups more resilient, developing attractive resources like this one, which is a 3D orchard design kit. And we run community-based events such as wassails and apple days. But our vision of creating thriving orchards is a hugely important part of our ethos. A shockingly high number of trees in urban areas don't survive the first couple of years after planting. It can be up to 50% according to the Forestry Commission. And this is a mixture of being poorly planted, lack of watering, and just little aftercare provided to help them in very harsh urban conditions. And added to this, we're already seeing the negative impacts of climate change on urban trees. And there's nothing more disheartening to communities than trees which have generated so much excitement and hope when they're planted, withering and dying from neglect. It almost has the opposite effect in communities and creates apathy and disappointment. So we're taking a different approach, and as far as we know, we're the only charity doing this. We've been really successful. We have an over 95% tree survival rate. At the core of our approach is offering groups a 5-year package of support for the orchards. We don't want to just plant a tree in the ground and then walk away. So we recruit 5 orchard leaders. These are volunteers from the local communities who receive training and support from our staff, and then they cascade their skills to the wider community. And we're also adapting our orchards by planting other edible and beneficial species at different layers of the canopy, you can see in this photo, to create a more diverse ecosystem which mimics more what happens in a forest. And this makes the orchards much more resilient to climate change, but also provides really interesting new foods for people to try. One of our big programs this year is a partnership project with the Soil Association. I think they're going to be mentioned again and again, and shared assets to create 3 new large-scale food forests across the UK, with the hope of influencing the UK government to adopt this approach more in urban areas. However, this work is very difficult to fund. So despite us campaigning for more focus and funding to be given to tree aftercare, the tree planting agenda is still really focused on quantity and not quality. We want to pilot a new model to help look after our existing orchards, but also to get more people involved. Over the last few years, we've seen a huge surge in people wanting to do practical environmental projects, and we want to capitalise on this. We want to roll out an approach to orchards care, which we're calling Orchard Blitzes. Blitz is the German word for a lightning strike, and it's a way to achieve a lot in a short amount of time. And our staff will lead a team of volunteers, both from the local community, but other people, to do practical orchard improvement work. This could be pruning or watering, installing structures such as signage and benches and raised beds that you can see in this picture. We also underplant the orchards with beneficial species, and then have a lovely meal at the end, and toast the orchard with cider or juice. And we've already trialled this approach on a small scale. Like, this is an orchard in Manchester, which was planted by a group of local mums. And we saw huge improvements in community involvement and commitment to the orchard. These orchard blitzes will ensure that our orchards last, and that's why we need your support today. In terms of our impact, I'll tell you the story of one of our orchards, which is on the Wenlock Barn estate in East London. The estate's in Hackney, about 10 minutes from Old Street, in a really built up area with very little green space. And 7 years ago, tired of constructors just dumping debris on the estate, the residents decided to plant an orchard. With our help, this wasteland was transformed into a beautiful community space. And the land where the orchard was used only as a dog toilet. But now it's being used for picnics and birthday parties, and it's just a wonderful place to hang out. There are 16 fruit trees there, from apples to apricots, and huge amounts of wildlife, grasshoppers, goldfinches, bees, butterflies. And we found out last week that this tiny oasis has been recommended as a site of nature importance for nature conservation in Hackney. We were really amazed by that. It's fantastic, fantastic. Sarah is one of the local residents, and she believes that the orchard has really helped the neighbours to connect and trust each other. And she says, it felt like there was an invisible wall around the estate, but the orchard has brought non-residents in, and we feel real pride in where we live. So we want to raise £20,000 tonight towards the core costs of piloting orchard blitzes across 10 sites, which will ultimately be rolled out across our UK network of over 500 orchards. The orchard blitzes will run in orchards across the cities we work in, which are currently London, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow and Swansea. And they're going to take place over the next year. So if you live nearby, we want you to come and join us. But hopefully together you can help us reach our vision that cities across the UK are full of thriving community orchards.